Okay, so maybe first start off with just introducing yourself, like your who you are, where you go to school, what year you are. Kind of, I don't know if Kaylee, you want to start.
I mean, might as well since I've been in this gig longer.
That's right.
All right, so my name is Kaylee. I go to school at Bridgewater State University and I am a senior.
My name is Emma. I'm currently a freshman at the University of New Haven.
Excellent. And just for the full disclosure, these two lovely ladies are both my nieces, so I am privileged to share DNA with them. That's partly part of the reason why I asked them to come on and tell a little bit about what it's like to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic in school. So, first question would be, what was the first change that you guys saw as far as school when it came to the pandemic? Like way back, it's been almost a year now. So what was kind of the first changes you saw?
Um, well, definitely one of the changes for me, like with the exclusion of wearing masks everywhere we go, most of the buildings on campus are closed, and to the buildings that are open, you have to like enter and exit in like certain parts of the building, which is interesting. And we also have like these like check-in QR code things that as soon as we enter the building, we have to check in the QR code. So like it reminds wherever like where we are and that like we're safe and stuff.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, Emma, I know when this pandemic started, you were still a senior at Dennis Yarmouth High School. So what was it like? I mean, I remember, but tell the listeners what it was like when COVID hit for you as far as what happened with school.
So I can say for me, it's the same thing. We have this app on our phones, and it basically says if we're cleared or restricted. So that goes with the daily testing we have. We get tested every week. I got tested yesterday for my weekly testing. So we go and get the swab every week to make sure we're all still negative. And we have an app on our phone that shows that we're cleared or restricted. So if we're cleared, that means we're allowed to go into buildings and stuff. We have to show that. I have to show that if I want to go into my dorm or other, like my classes, if I'm going in person that day, I have to show that. If I'm going to the dining hall, we have to wear a mask everywhere, constantly washing our hands, sanitizing, the whole shebang. So our last day of in-person school before everything shut down was March 13th, which was a Friday. And I remember that day was pretty strange, and a lot of people weren't there because that was when COVID was first becoming pretty major in the United States. So everyone was freaking out. And then we were originally told that we were only going to be home for 2 weeks. That's how it started, because they were going to disinfect the school, is what they said. And so we didn't start classes again until like 3 weeks later. So it was a really long like limbo of not knowing really what was happening, because we just kept getting told that school is going to be closed for longer. So it was really stressful. It was not fun.
So you ended up going back to school, or was it remote?
So we went remote. So we just started doing Zoom classes like we're doing right now. So we met with our teachers at the time that we would normally have them. And then we wouldn't really even do anything because no one knew what was happening. So we kind of would just get on Zoom and kind of just talk about how we were feeling and what was going on, because really no one knew what was happening. We all were kind of experiencing the same kind of feeling of not knowing.
So after the pandemic started, and as far as up till now, I mean, Kaylee touched on some of it with the QR codes, but what sorts of precautions have they been taking at the schools as far as to make it as safe as it can be?
At the very beginning of the fall semester, we were originally like having COVID tests like bi-weekly. And then it was like halfway towards the end of the fall semester that it became like a weekly thing, and it's still a weekly thing even now, which
what kind of tests do you guys get? Emma said the swab, it's not the nasal one, or is it like in your mouth?
No, it's the nose one.
Yeah, we get it up the nose. Yeah, at Bridgewater, thank God, they have you do the test yourself, so you don't have to like shove the like whole Q-tip like up to your brain.
You had said, I know for that you guys have done a lot of remote learning, and there's been times that you guys have been at home at your mom's, but has it been difficult to adjust to a lot of that remote learning? I mean, I couldn't imagine sitting in front of a computer just writing or working on this podcast or something. I easily get distracted. So I couldn't imagine having to actually learn at college using this sort of method. So what's that been like?
Well, it's depending on the class. Because some classes are synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is like when you have like Zoom meetings with your whole class, and then asynchronous is when you just like do your assignments and like send them to your professor, like email wise and stuff, and you don't like have Zoom meetings and stuff. Most of my classes that this school year have been synchronous, which I find very easy because I I typically like to learn in a classroom setting, and meeting with your professors and other students on Zoom, I feel is like kind of the same. And like I get to like hear stuff being said instead of like reading and taking notes and stuff, which I find very difficult, and is like partially a reason why I found it difficult last year when the pandemic and quarantine started, because that semester, because for me, the pandemic started like during my spring break, and we were supposed to go back to school like the following week, which ended up not happening. So we ended up doing the rest of the semester remotely, but all of my classes were asynchronous, which was very difficult for me because like I was having a hard time like struggling basically to like get all my work done on time, and just like trying to like read a bunch of like my assignments. I like read PowerPoints for final projects and stuff, or like do readings for final papers and stuff, which was like very difficult for me because I'm more of like I said, I'm more of like an in classroom setting type of person. So synchronous classes for me have been very easy. Like I've definitely last semester I've done much better than I did the semester before. So
I can say for me personally, I'm the same. I like taking classes in person because my classes have also been synchronous. For the first 2 weeks I came back for my spring semester, we were online for the first 2 weeks to kind of do like a soft quarantine on campus where no one was really allowed to leave the campus. So we all were online and they were synchronous, but I also have a hard time focusing just on my computer. Like I have my phone easily accessible to me. I have roommates, so sometimes my roommates are in here. So it's really hard to focus, and especially because my classes this semester are pretty difficult in content. So it's hard to learn that through Zoom because I'm much more of a person that likes to be in a classroom where I have one thing to focus on. So learning online has been pretty difficult, but I've been able to do it. So it's fine now, but it's definitely not my preferred way of learning.
Yeah, I could only imagine. Like I told you guys, I had to learn how to run a Zoom meeting just to do this interview. And I didn't think I was that old to the point where the technology is that far advanced. So I couldn't imagine, even right now, I have my phone literally right in front of me with questions on it. And I've got this light to improve the lighting of the video. And so I'm easily distracted. So God bless you for being able to handle that in an actual, college is different than high school, where it's like college is more of a choice. Like you don't have to go. Don't tell your mom that. But moving on, have you had any close calls when it comes to the virus, as far as like in contact, or, because it's scary. We've, in full disclosure, my mother, their grandmother, and one of my sisters are positive for COVID right now. And it's very scary to have it close to home. Thankfully, they don't have it in their lungs, which is the scary thing, but still, it's got to be difficult being on a college campus. It must be all around you at times.
I know I've had 2 encounters with it. So in mid-September, I've been in quarantine twice. So in mid-September, one of my suite mates, not my roommates, but like my suite mates, one of them was in contact with a girl who was positive. So because of that, I was considered a contact of a contact. So I was put in quarantine. And then the last time was towards the, I'm trying to think, beginning of November. It was right before I was supposed to come home for Thanksgiving break. I got put in quarantine again because my suite mate tested positive. Like actually one of them tested positive. So I went home to quarantine and thankfully I didn't get it either time. I'm very shocked that I've been here and I haven't actually gotten it yet. But yeah, I've had 2 close calls with it.
So we're heading on to basically a year of this world that we're in now. I mean, granted, it looks like it's turning the corner. I'm here.
No, because I live in a single, so I don't have any roommates, and most of my suite mates, well, not most of them, but some of them have moved out between semesters, so it's like me and another person who like are very like inverted into our rooms for most of the day. I'd say like the closest to a close call would be one of my friends who's a commuter. Her mom is an essential worker and works at a hospital where she deals with a bunch of COVID patients. So that's like kind of close, but like at the same time, like that friend's very cautious about like where she goes and like stuff. Like she takes this pandemic seriously. Like she's also an essential worker working retail and takes like all the necessary precautions to like make sure that she's clean and stuff. And I bring her up because she likes to visit me and my friends who live on campus.
Good if vaccinations are outnumbering people that are getting the virus. But the big question to kind of sum it all up is, what's the thing you're most looking forward to doing once the pandemic is finally over and things have loosened up and the world is as close to normal as it could ever get again? What's the first thing you guys want to do?
I'd say for me, because one of the reasons why I chose the school that I'm at is because it's right near New York City. So I really wanted to go to New York for my birthday before the pandemic hit. So I really want to go there while I'm at college. That's something I really want to do. I also want to visit my other friends at other schools. Like my best friend is in Newport in Rhode Island. So I really wanted to go visit her. And they're my friends obviously in Massachusetts, and then my friend who's in New York City. So I just want to travel because I feel stuck.
I plan on leaving the state for like a good couple weeks. No, I have, I'm in a couple group chats with like friends with like seemingly different backgrounds. Like I'm a theater major, so I have a group chat with specifically theater friends and non-theater friends. And like in both group chats, we've all planned on like wanting to do like meetups and like hang out and like have movie nights and road trips and stuff that like I'm really looking forward to doing because I miss my friends.
It's incredible to think. I couldn't imagine being in college and having it where you're basically on lockdown for a year. And if you're not on lockdown, it's like you're severely restricted in what you can do. It's, I feel terrible that it's like the college experience. At least you'll have an interesting story to tell when you're my age and older, that people won't believe that this was reality. When are you, like, as far as like the rest of the semester, is there any changes? Are they saying like if you're the vaccinations and stuff, have you gotten any word there about if you guys are in line for that at any point?
I just heard today because one of my roommates is immunosuppressed, so she's been talking to people about getting the vaccination, and I think I heard that they're talking about, because I guess there's a new vaccine where it's only 1 dose, and I've been hearing that one of the places here that gives the vaccines is trying to get it so college campuses can get it, because obviously we're a bunch of people living in one spot, so it kind of makes sense for us to get it sooner rather than later. So I've heard that that's happening before the semester's over, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, and so far I haven't heard anything from Bridgewater regarding the vaccine.
Well, I have trust and faith that you guys are smart. You have a smart mother, so you're being safe and kind of this will be over. I mean, I'm hoping by sometime in the summer that the world is kind of back to close to normal. But hopefully, things go smoothly for the rest of this semester for both of you. Thank you so much for taking some time. I know that if I was in college and my crazy uncle asked me to do some kind of an interview for a podcast, I'd be like, yeah, I'm busy forever. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes to inform the people listening to this podcast about what it's been like for the both of you dealing with COVID in college.
Of course.
Yes.